What's happening, and welcome back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Jim, with a healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. Today on the podcast, the power of vision. Not a vision, but vision. We're going to look at the story of Abram. At the very beginning, what happened? What did he get? We're going to also look at how you just really getting practical on what vision is really helps to allow vision to manifest itself. And then we're going to also jump into how we can grab a hold of our vision, even when it feels like there's no, like that vision has been canceled. I'm going to share with you a story today of kind of like a recent story of what's been happening in my life that literally almost shook me to the core. But then as I'm coming out of the fog inside of it, I can share with you that when you have a vision and you obsess over that vision, when you obsess over a huge problem, things will change, and it will change in the direction that you are looking to go. So look, buckle up, make sure you have a pen and a pen handy so that you can write some notes down. But today we're going to share this power of vision, how vision can transform each and every one of our lives. So I want to share this quick intro with you of why this podcast exists.
Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
All right, what's happening? So, guys, I want you to just go with me quickly. Go with me quickly into Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12. At the very beginning of this chapter, it starts out with the call of Abraham. Abraham was called. Now, here's what's interesting about a call. It's not like a phone call. You know, sometimes you get a phone, hey, how you doing? You know someone's on the other end, but a call like this kind of call is visionary. It's kind of like something that sounds different, something that no one's doing, something that may even feel like it's bigger than me. Guys, if you missed the last episode when I talked about the power of a dream, you want to go back and watch or listen to that episode on all the podcast stations and on YouTube, Facebook as well. So make sure you go back and listen and watch the power of a dream. So when you think about a call, it's kind of like one of these things where it's like, man, I feel like I should do something. So in this chapter, at the very beginning, it says the Lord said to Abram. Now, here's the thing. Wait. Did a physical Lord show up? That's what I want to ask you today. Did a physical Lord show up? Did the physical God show up? See, we have to put ourselves in the story esoterically so that we can say, okay, God showed up in my life. That's the same as Abram. All right. Go from your country, go from your people and your father's household to the land I will show you. Put yourself in the story. Go from Newark, New Jersey to a land I'm going to show you is what God called. God called me out of Newark, New Jersey. Right. At the time, it was no vision. It was just, let me go down to the Washington, D.C. area because I feel like there's an urging me telling me that I need to be there. Seriously, that's exactly what happened. There was an urging like, man, things are just lining up. We should be in Washington, D.C. And wow, we can go to school. My father worked for an organization of the school that we went to. And it was just like, wow, we can go there for free just about. Pay for room and board. But we were called. Me, my brother, and my good friend Skip, we were all called. Now, I looked up the word call. I looked up calling. Calling is a strong urge towards a particular way of life, career, or vacation. So we were called into an area. Now, here's what was interesting. My life would change. My life would change because of the calling that I accepted. Because when I got here, I didn't know I was going to wind up playing basketball for this particular school. I didn't go in for that. I just went to get out of New Jersey. I got the call out of New Jersey, and then I stepped into a life that was great. And while I was here, I was shown the woman who would be my partner, the woman who would be the person that I would spend my life with, which was the first meeting. And I'll share this with her. I shared this with my wife. We talked about it again because I keep reminding her that this is a divine assignment. This is not happenstance just because you like me or love me. Whatever. No. This was a divine assignment. We were assigned to each other. We were predestined together. Now, here's the thing about this predestination, guys. I did a podcast on this predestined talk a few podcasts ago. I can't remember the title, but you go back and look, and if you probably catch the titles, you'll probably see the one or two that I talked about predestination. Predestination, the idea comes from in the beginning. I'm gonna get back to the story of Abram in a second. In the beginning. But before the beginning, there was a thought. So it says, before the foundation of the world, he says he knew you and he knew me, which means that we were there in the beginning. We were there before we became these persons on this planet. So because of that, then we have to remember who we were and who we are so that we can step in who we should be right now. So this calling pulled me all the way to this place where I wasn't, at least in my mind, I would have been somewhere else. I had chosen to go somewhere else, and I did not wind up going because of an urge. I had an urge. I changed my mind from going to the University of Alabama, Huntsville to not going away to school, staying home and attending Essex County College in Newark, New Jersey my first year, and then sitting out the beginning of the second year. And I only went part-time my first year. So I only did I think I did maybe 8 credits, no, 4, maybe 4 credits, total of 8 credits my first year. So when we think about this, we think about the story of Abram. And what was Abram told? Abram was told that he would be a great nation. Now, this is the part. Most of us, when we see our visions and we see them, like we can see it because, listen, guys, it's better to have sight. It's better to have vision than to have sight. Like it's better. Now, I don't have any lenses in my glasses, so I don't need them to see. But for those that wear glasses, like think about it. You don't need sight in order to have vision. So Abram is getting this word that says, I will make you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. And he's saying to himself, bro, I can't even have kids. See, when we get these visions, the visions are so big. They are so like night and day to who we are at the time that we get afraid of actually moving towards it. Imagine someone told you, leave your job, cancel the business that you're in, do something different. What if that happened? Would you do it? Most of us would question it like, I don't know if that's God. I don't know if that's something I should be doing. I don't know. See, Abram, he heard. See, because with a vision, it says, I looked this up. This is not me. It says a vision is a supernatural encounter with God that reveals his plans and purposes for your life. I added that. Visions are often portrayed as audio-visual experiences that occur while the recipient is awake most of the time. They can take the form of dreams, trance-like states, or dark scenes. Forget the dark scenes, but most of the visions that I've had, I've been awake. I've been sitting down. I've been seeing the future. I've been seeing the things that I've been showed. Now, one of the biggest dreams that I've had, I was asleep. See, when you have a vision, the vision is not just for you. You should write that down. The vision ain't for me, right? The vision, it feels like, oh, this is my vision. No. This ain't your vision. You just get to manifest the vision. That's why this is so powerful, because that vision came with you from the beginning. From the beginning, when you showed up here as a baby, right? You had to fight through how many sperm did you have to beat in order to get to the egg, in order to make that egg fertile? You had to beat 500 million sperm in order to get here. So think about that. So 500 million sperm in order to get here, and now you are here. That means that vision came with you. It's not something that we got to go and find. You don't have to go find it. It's already in you. You came here with everything you ever needed to do, whatever it is that you had to do here on this planet. It's just that when we get these visions and we finally see it, man, is this real? Is this real? Is this really going to happen through me? You know, God winked at me some years ago, and he may have winked at you as well. I was in California. at a 100X conference. You should look that up. I'm at the conference. I'm out running one morning. This must be in 2021. No, 22. I'm out running. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm running. And as I'm running, the guy giggled. He says, hey, I just want to share something with you. He said, did you know I made you tall because of how big the vision is in you? I made you tall because I wanted you to notice how different you were when you get around, even your family. You're different from your family. And I did that intentional so that everybody had to look up to you. It's kind of like the story of Joseph. Think about the story of Joseph. Now, Joseph just so happened to get the dream. He actually got the dream where everybody's bound down to him, wherein I didn't get that dream. But what God was sharing with me, yes, everybody's to bow down to you. Now, here's the thing. That may be hard for some people to bow down. No, it's not that they're bowing down. It's that you have been given something greater that then helps everybody else's vision, helps everybody else's gifts. And, you know, when I was talking to my friend the other day and he says, yeah, Jay, you know, I'm a dreamer, you're a dreamer. But here's the thing. You have this ability to help these things come to life. I do. He says, yeah, the problem you got is that you keep looking at mine when yours is bigger, yours is greater. What if you knew you had this great gift sitting on the inside of you that's greater than those you're looking at? You're looking at somebody else saying, oh, theirs is so big and they're having so much success, but yours may be greater than theirs because we're constantly looking at them. So when we're talking about vision, it says it's a supernatural encounter, right? It's an encounter that reveals God's plans and purposes in your life. That's the power of vision, right? But we're not done yet. We're not done yet because there's some practical things that has to get done when we're talking about having a vision. Now, before getting to practice, I just want to share over the past couple of weeks. Well, actually the past few months, just been like in this. I feel like I've been pulsating, I kind of noticed something's ready to break and bust out. And so I got in a situation where I felt like I made a bad decision financially, right? Made a bad decision. And it just felt like everything was just falling apart. But here's what happened. Here's what's coming out of it. When you obsess over solving a big problem. Come on now. When I obsessed, this is a big problem. At least at the time, I felt like it was big until I talked to my friend who he shared his big financial problem. I was like, oh, mine is not big as yours. But then that was the aha moment. But when you obsess over a big, big problem that a lot of people have, this is the key to bringing your vision to life. It's not just going to, let me go out and do this thing today. Let me go out and do that thing tomorrow. No, it's not about that yet. You got to obsess over it because once you obsess over it, you give your mind, you give your body, you give your spirit the opportunity to go out and find the solution for you. Someone say, oh, is this manifestation? Kinda. It's kind of like manifestation, right? Because what we're doing is we're taking energy. We're taking energy, the energy that you're pulsating with right now, and you're blocking out all other energy. And now you're pointing your energy. It's kind of like if you had a laser and you pointed the laser at something. What do you think that laser is going to do? It's going to pierce it. It's going to get into it. So you take this laser of your energy and you point it at the thing that you know you got to do, the problem you got to solve, the solution you got to create. And because and all you do is just keep pointing. You just pointing and pointing and pointing. And so here's what happens. And here's what happened for me. It was kind of like the more I pointed it, then I would get some, encouraging things to say, hey, why don't you do this? Hey, why don't you go look for this? Hey, why don't you go do this? And then all of a sudden, it was like, this started happening, that started happening, created this, created that. All of a sudden, this is happening. I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. Then all of a sudden, other things show up that you didn't need, that wasn't even in the thought process, but they are a part of solving the problem. So when you take your vision, right? You take your vision, you know what it is. Like, I'm here to help dreamers, really implement and bring their financial realities to light. Help them exceed, right? Because like I can talk to somebody and they can say, hey, I want to make $100,000. Great. I'm going to help you exceed that. You're going to help me exceed? Yeah, I'm going to help you exceed it. So the way I operate, I'm not just wanting you to do what you said you want to do. The way I operate, I want you to do more than what you said you can do. Because when you do more, here's what happens. All of a sudden, you're just like, oh my goodness, this is like, wow, how did that happen? Well, you already had it in you. You just needed somebody to help you hone it in. You needed somebody to help you laser in on that problem so that you can find the solutions, and the solutions just fall in your hands. Literally, they fall in your hands. So here's the thing about vision. There's some things about vision that we all know we should do. We know we should write them down, right? Don't we know that? We know we should write them down. We know we should have them written. So a lot of times it's because they're not written down. The things that we desire, the things that we know we have to focus on, they're not written down. I was talking to a friend of mine. It's been about almost 2 weeks. We were talking and we were just talking because it was like we were in the spirit together and just kind of like, it was things was just like, yes, Susie, you got it. That's right. You got it. Habakkuk 2 and 3. So here's the thing. We were talking and what we were talking about was this kind of thing, like the stuff that I'm talking about here. And what we did was, one of the things we came up with is, wow, when you write it, there's so much power in that. Because what happens is it becomes plain. Like in a bag, it says, write the vision, make it plain, that those who read it can run with it, can literally just herald it and just like, wow, this is great, because we understand exactly what you're talking about. So we talked about this and I was like, this is so basic. This is so basic. But here's the problem that a lot of visionaries have, and even dreamers. We have the problem that we forget that, yes, there's a spiritual component to bringing vision to life. There's a big spiritual component. There's some practical components as well. The spiritual component comes first. What is that? So in a framework that I've created so that dreamers and visionaries can really develop, it's called, being inspired. When you're inspired, what is that? What is inspiration really? So I used to think inspiration was, you go to a conference or you hear a great teaching and you get it. Yes, this is good. I'm inspired. No. Now you feel that, because that's also motivation. And I'll tell you what motivation is in a second. Inspiration is when you grow from within. So we have to literally say, well, how do I grow from within? How is that even possible for me to grow from within? Now that I have this vision, oh, this is how you grow from within. You focus on, you're going to be focused on that vision, like, laser focus. And the only thing I'm allowing in is everything that goes with the vision. Everything else gets blocked out. This is the challenging part, because how are you going to block out? You're going to block out close friends. You're going to block out people who aren't on the same wavelength as you. Yep, you got to do it. In the conversation I had with my friend, that's what she said she had to do. She said she had to literally block one of her best friends. She blocked them out. She had to block out one of her best friends, literally wouldn't even go to the person's house. She says because the energy that was coming from that particular individual was something that she couldn't even be around. She could talk to her on the phone here and there, but she could not get into the same space as this individual. I was like, wow, that's deep. This is someone she hung out with all the time. But she realized that, wow, that energy was taking away from my growth. It was taking away from the inner development of who she was and who she is. And she blocked them out. See, that's challenging. To make a move like that so that you can grow, most people won't do it. Most people will say, I don't know if I can do that. I can't block out my mom. I can't block out my best friend. But you have to, especially when you have a big vision. You have this big thing that has to come to life. It comes from within. And so what we focus on is what's going to allow this to come in. So I'm almost done here. Don't leave. I have one other thing. All right. So why is vision so powerful? Why is it so powerful? It's powerful because if you lack vision, what's going to happen to the people? They're going to perish. They're going to cast off restraint. It'll be chaotic. Things will be off the chain. And right now, we're living in a time where a lot of us, especially faith-filled individuals, we are holding on to our visions. And we're not allowing our visions to really grow, because a lot of our visions are in the infant stage. And we know we have these visions. We know we have these dreams. We know that we know how powerful vision is, but we're not allowing ourselves to develop in it. See, because it's the development. One last story you know the story of Yeshua. You know who he is. You've heard the story. You heard all the stuff that was talked about him and what he did on the planet. Oh, because he's the Son of God. Yeah. Aren't you the Son of God as well? So let's look at this story real quick before we wrap up. Let's go back. Before you were formed in the womb, I knew you. Yeshua was there, right? Just like you were. You were there too before you were formed in the womb. So he was there, right? So then he comes to the planet as a human being. He comes to the planet as a human being, just like you came to the planet as a human being. And you know how, your parents would say, hey, man, there's a calling on your life and there's things you got to do, da-da-da-da. And I just know. And he had to live through that. Them telling him this, you're the king and da-da-da, but he didn't really know it. This is me understanding the story the way that I'm going to understand it, because he could not operate as the quote unquote, like the big God. He had to operate like a God on this planet. So then it is, okay, so he's born. And then he's 12. And then he seems like he's a bit wise and got all these things with him. And then he disappears from 12 to 30. What changed? What changed between 12 and 30? Well, it was just the time. Well, he developed the vision. He knew who he was, because they probably reinforced you're the king, blah, blah, blah. And so he had to develop for his purpose. So he had to take the 18 years to develop on healing the sick, raising the dead, all the stuff that he wound up doing. To people reading the Bible, it just seems like, there's no way I can do anything like that. Greater works shall you do is what he said. Greater works. So how could he even say that if it wasn't true? But he developed for his purpose. Without the development in the purpose, without the development of the vision, that vision may not ever come to light. So what is a vision? A supernatural encounter, right? It's a supernatural encounter that it reveals God's plans and purposes. So that you have a vision today. Your vision is to do something. Your vision is for you to be somebody. Even your vision is to have something. You're going to have to motivate yourself. What does that mean? I'm not talking about the motivation that just you watch this podcast, you get motivated. I'm talking about you got to literally change. Motivation is I must change my ways today because now I need to point myself in the correct change so that things can happen. I've got to inspire. I've got to be inspired. I must now, as I'm changing, I must develop myself in the change. I must develop myself for the purpose, for the plan. Because without the development, there won't be there won't be any manifestation of these purposes and of these things that we actually want to have. And I must stay focused on acting on all the things about the changes and all the things about the development, because it's the action that builds your faith. It's the action that builds your life. Without action, we won't be fit. We won't be fit for the kingdom, right? So we have to stay fit. And what does that mean? We got to keep our faith fit. When our faith is fit, our vision is secure. If our faith is not fit, our vision potentially could be canceled. Take this power of vision today. Share this with somebody you know. Say, hey man, if you got a vision, you may want to check this out. It, maybe a different way of talking about vision. But let them know, hey man, I've got a big vision. I know that it's time for me to step in to who I am today. And if you and if they have a vision as well, then maybe they'll step in as well. So guys, I'm thankful today because God has done something in you, and he's also doing something in me for us to bring our visions to life. Go ahead, get out there, bring your vision to life. Allow just allow the power of the Creator to transform you into the person that you know you are. So guys, I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. This is Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.